Hello and welcome to another episode of the Naked Coach Collective. I'm your host today, and we've got Dee. It's just the two of us on tonight's
Hello.
episode, and we're talking about growth mindset. What is a growth mindset? Why is it important? And in a future episode, we'll be talking about how to start to cultivate a growth mindset. So,
Yep.
Dee,
Yeah.
as it's just you, I can only pick on you.
Okay, good. Do it.
What is a growth mindset?
A growth mindset includes a lot of aspects, and it starts from being in a place of learning and understanding that you've never got to the end of your learning journey. You're embracing challenges that come your way. You might feel some fear, you might get frightened, but you're excited about new things, unexpected things light you up. You have a real curiosity of exploration, like an exploration mind. You're not kind of sitting there thinking, oh yeah, oh, okay, everything's good. Don't need to rock the apple cart. Apple cart? Yeah.
It's rock the boat, but
Is it rock the boat?
let's go with apple cart.
Okay. Right. So you just
Don't rock that apple cart.
don't rock that apple cart. You're just you're curious, you're exploratory, you're learning from doing stuff. You're learning from people critiquing you as well. So you could be the kind of person who does something, invites critique, invites feedback, and the growth mindset person is going to embrace that and say, okay, sometimes it's hard to take, but I take it on board and I learn from it and I move on. Can't remember what I've said now. Is it the growth mindset person also has, I think, some inner strength, like a bit of inner resilience, because
Mm.
they don't feel like this is it. So whereas we have like the opposite, which is a fixed mindset, somebody who's not looking forward to changes or doesn't feel like they can develop anymore. I think the resilience from the growth mindset person is really, it's a really good thing. Well, yeah, obviously it's a good thing. What about you?
Yeah, and I think that that resilience side comes from the fact that if you're someone who has a growth mindset, you're more likely to take on challenges. You're more likely to receive a setback, but then get up, learn from it, and go again.
Exactly.
Whereas
Exactly.
if you've got that fixed mindset, you're more likely to kind of shy away from that challenge. If you take that setback, you're going to avoid any other challenges that might be similar to it, or you'll hide away because you're just worried about making mistakes.
Yeah. And also I think with the fixed mindset, I know we're going the other way, but you kind of feel as though you don't actually have an ability to learn or change. People say, oh, I've been doing that for 20 years. I've doing that the same way for 20 years. And so that means I'm going to continue to do it for the next 20 years. No thought of, well, actually, potentially there could be I could do it a different way, or I could learn something new and develop that, but no.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a couple of other things that people with a growth mindset over people with a fixed mindset have to their advantage is the fact that they're more willing and more likely to ask for help when they recognize that they need help, and they'll search out people who can potentially be mentors,
Yeah.
or just resources for them to lean on. Whereas people with that fixed kind of mindset don't want to reach out to people because they might be, I don't know, perhaps afraid of revealing the fact that they're not good at doing something. So there's
So
like
do you think
that fear that kind of dominates that fixed mindset.
So do you think that sort of ties in with confidence and personal confidence?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Because, I mean, how do you gain confidence? It's through competence, which is obviously through practice makes perfect, right?
Mm.
So you do something, you get better, and you get better, and then you gain that confidence. Whereas if you've got that fixed mindset, you do something, fail, but then you're less likely to do it again because you just want to kind of shy away from that challenge.
So it sounds as though you're saying that both the growth and the fixed mindset is almost like a rolling stone. So, once you start doing something, doing it well, you get better, you do it even better, you learn more, you just go on and on and on, and that stone just gets bigger and bigger, and your knowledge just gets bigger and bigger, and your growth mindset is incredible. Whereas if you fail initially, or even fail to start initially, you're just gonna keep rolling on your hamster wheel, if you like. I'm full of analogies today, and I don't really know why.
Hamster wheels, apple
Apple cart.
carts.
But whereas your big boulder is rolling up that hill and faster and faster and faster as your mindset is growing, and it's and you're in that place, your fixed mindset is just holding you back, really, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I've got kind of a bit of a little story to try and help articulate the differences in like a real world scenario for the audience. So just imagine there's two students who have both recently graduated from university with a degree in microbiology. They both score similar. I know to me it'd be a boring subject as well. I saw your face.
I made a face, but to be fair, I think I'd quite like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, tell your face that then.
I'm not. Thanks. I'm not doing that poop though. Yeah. So maybe it wouldn't be.
So they both score similar. They both get a similar result in their exams. They've both got very similar grades in all their other studies, and they're both applying for exactly the same job at the same research company. Now, they have to go through this interview process in a couple of weeks' time, and that involves a presentation of the research that they've done as a student. It has like a Q&A, and then it's followed by 5 mini interviews with like department heads and managers and supervisors and that kind of thing. And so if we have one student who obsesses over the presentation, but as he begins to write the presentation, he starts to question himself. Well, what if I'm not impressive enough? What if I haven't accomplished enough in graduate school? And so as a result of this, he then starts to imagine he's been rejected for the job. And he starts to think about, what will people think of me if I don't get the job? Will people think less of me if I don't get the job? And so he obsesses even more. And then that has a knock-on effect again, where he's telling himself, this is my one shot. If this doesn't work out, it'll be months of searching for something else. And I'll be stuck for months doing nothing. And because of these concerns, the night before the interview process begins, he's barely sleeping. He can barely sleep. He's just lying awake, worrying about the presentation, whether he's going to be impressive enough, whether he'll get the job. And then now he's worrying because he can't sleep. I'm going to be sleep deprived. How on earth am I going to be able to answer questions in the Q&A and in the interview? And so he starts to then question himself and say, well, should I have maybe aimed a bit lower and got a lower level job? Should I cancel and tell them I'm just ill? And so that's student 1. And then you have student 2, who works on his presentation. It's not easy, and he does get frustrated, but he says to himself, it's important that I communicate well, and given the complexity of the research, it's not going to be easy. So how do I connect with the audience, especially given the fact that they're not familiar with my research? So then he reorganizes his presentation, reorganizes his talk, sets up a meeting with one of his advisors to try and get some outside input. After researching the company he's applying to, he realizes that he would like the job, but he also realizes that the interview is a good opportunity to view the culture of the company and whether it would be a good fit for him, as well as him being a good fit for them.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
The night before, he acknowledges that he might not get the job, but the experience of the interview process is a good opportunity to learn about the company, learn new skills, and get comfortable in that interview situation and delivering presentations in that situation. And if he's not hired, he just tells himself he'll need to put in a bit more effort to search for a new job and maybe do some networking with people to help his chances in finding a new job. He's nervous but excited. He rehearses the night before, but then chills out with a film and then gets a good night's sleep before the interview. Now, I can't tell you who got the job, but I think we can all guess who would more likely get the job. And it's weird that two people who have not exactly the same, but very, very, very similar circumstances, applying for the same thing, put in the same situation, reacting completely different ways, purely because of that fixed and that growth mindset.
I love it. Absolutely. I mean, the thing that even when you were talking, just talking about that fixed mindset, hearing it, if we've got listeners out there who identify with that, they're thinking, oh my God, actually, I do that. I've got an interview, or I've got somewhere I need to maybe make a statement or impress, or for whatever reason, and I feel that it's probably years in the making, that fixed mindset, and lots of stuff has happened to get them to there. And I mean, I know we've got a whole episode on this coming up later, but I'm really looking forward, now that you've given us that story, I'm really looking forward to hearing how we can go about developing a fixed mindset into a growth mindset. Because it's obvious that your man there, the second guy, was the one who was more successful, full stop. Whether he got the job or not, doesn't matter. He was more successful because even in the process of getting to that interview on that day, he's already learned more. He's spoken to people, he's got advice, he's got outside information, he's gone and done some research on the company. Yeah, your man number one didn't do any research. He was all insular. It was all about where he's coming from. I mean, I don't know if you meant that to come out, but I thought that was quite interesting as well. He was looking within himself at his downfalls.
Exactly that. It's a case of, what if I'm not good back to that, what if I'm not good enough?
Yeah. So
who am I to, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So the difference, the big difference between the two is that your personal growth, you're putting a ceiling on your personal growth. And I think at this point because I'm all about freedoms, I'm all about personal freedoms. And so I would say at this point, if that makes you happy, then good. Right. So I'm not necessarily saying that a fixed mindset is the wrong way to go and a growth mindset is what you have to have. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying, if it's something that, you feel that you could develop, then, if you want to move yourself, learn more, develop yourself more in whatever way, the growth mindset is the thing that you're going to need to do it.
Yeah. And I think one of the kind of, and we'll get into it more in that next episode. Is it next or one after? I can't remember, but we'll get into it anyway with regards to the types of tools that you can use to develop that growth mindset. But I think one just off the bat for now is just be curious.
Yeah, nice.
Be curious and want to learn about things, and it'll just start to help develop that growth mindset. It's kind of like one of the first stepping stones on the pathway, really, to having a growth mindset. It's just being curious, wanting to know how you can learn from something, wanting to know what that setback has taught you.
Yeah.
For you to move forward.
that curiosity, it's I found with me, because I know I've been on a huge learning journey of these last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, or just learning, learning, learning. And what I found was, at the beginning, there's a lot of fear.
Mm.
I want to learn more, and there's a lot of fear because you don't quite know what you're going to learn. And as soon as you start, you think the fear doesn't actually go away. It actually increases, because initially you start learning about a subject, and then you realize that there's a whole lot more to learn about it than you thought initially. And then
Yeah.
there's about 10 different ways you could go, where you thought there might just be one or two. But even then, right? So you've embarked on a journey. I wanted to learn more about personal development, and I wanted to learn more about a couple of different modalities and things. And I thought, oh, it's hard. And then I learned that there's even going to be harder than that. But that fear also excites. So I think if you've got that kind of mentality, that growth mindset going on, you're just excited.
Yeah, I think
About
that's a good word to that's a good word to use to describe it. Yeah.
So if you met two people, and one of them was excited and jumpy, like I could be sometimes, right?
Don't know what you mean.
and, and one of them was not excited and jumpy. One of them was sort of like just, would you assume? Do you think that is there's a correlation between excitable and jumpy like me, or kind of calm and peaceful like you, between growth and fixed mindset?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because I think both of us have growth mindsets, or are on our way to developing a growth mindset. I don't think someone being enthusiastic and jumpy and excited, and someone being calm and I don't know what else do you say, boring.
I did not
No, I
mean.
don't see a correlation there. I think someone's just had too much coffee. Just stop
Yes.
having so much caffeine. Chill out a
Yeah.
bit.
All right. Okay. I mean, let's. Can you think of an example in your personal experience where you have caught yourself thinking, "Gosh, that's hard. Maybe I shouldn't do it," and then thought, "Right, okay, no, I want to develop," or maybe not.
No, I'm a winner.
Love it. Woo!
No, loads of times. There's loads of times where it happens, and I never used to be able to catch it. It was only after I kind of got into. Well, is that right? I don't. It was after I got into the coaching world where I was able to understand what a growth mindset was, why it was important, and then catch myself in the moments where I was doubting myself.
Yeah.
But before that, when I would do it, I'd be doubting myself, etc. But then I'd kind of just do things anyway.
Yeah, that's good. So
I
it's
kind of just do them
natural.
anyway.
It's
So
natural in you.
kind of, yeah. I think it's so. I've always been probably too much, as people tell me, competitive. So when I get met with a certain challenge,
Mm.
I have to try and achieve or win whatever game it is. I mean,
Mm.
whatever it is, I have to try and do my best to achieve whatever it is I'm going for.
Yeah.
And sometimes that obviously doesn't work out, but it doesn't mean I don't learn from that and then go again. And despite the fact that I used to think, "Oh, I'm clearly just not good enough at this," it didn't matter. I would
Yeah.
still. Maybe I'm not the best example for this. Because I think I've always kind of naturally been of the case of, well, no, let's go again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you are as well. Definitely.
Let's learn and go again. So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe not the best example. Sorry.
No, it's true. I mean, I know that, in my younger days, I was definitely a little bit more fixed. I would, like, I mean, I'm the youngest of three. I've never really had to take on anything, youngest of three siblings. And I've never really been challenged so much. So for a lot of my younger days, if things didn't come easy, I could quite easily give up. But that has developed as I've gotten older, and just realized that actually I want more than is going to land on my lap. So I do. So you have to do the work. Have to create the opportunities, because I didn't need to do it for such a long time. Yeah. But then, and going on from that, do you think that having a growth mindset is encouraging collaboration, for example? So I think the four of us, us naked coaches, I think we all had that, in the sense that I think if you've got a fixed mindset, you're a little bit anti working with people.
Yeah, quite insular.
Mm.
Yeah. Although you probably know that you need help,
Right.
and you should collaborate with other people. You're less likely to, purely
Yeah.
because I think there's that, as I was saying earlier, I think there's that, maybe that fear behind it, where it's like, well, what will they think of me knowing that I can't do this on my own?
Mm. So
Whereas I
that's a
think
limiting
with,
belief, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
You know?
And I think, as you mentioned, all of us, Sarah B, yourself, and we are quite collaborative, and we want to do things together and work on things together. So yeah, I think it really does, and yeah, because you are more likely to search for mentors and other
Mm.
people to help you along the way.
Yeah. See, isn't it funny how all these things are all related together? So, that it goes back to the confidence then as well, doesn't it? And so it's like so many things in coaching. I know we talk about this a lot in our session, in our podcast, is that it's all interrelated. And
Yeah,
that person that you become, I mean, I can only speak from my own personal experience. I mean, I know that the person that I'm becoming is so much more open to to ideas, to collaborations, to talking to people, to doing things. That doesn't mean that I'm not scared. That doesn't mean that I have to sort of wipe my brow before every recording of our podcast and sort of go, oh shit, here we go again. Right, right. But, you feel the fear and do it anyway, right? So
exactly.
yeah,
Embrace it.
yeah, yeah.
What
So those
is it?
go.
You were talking earlier on the
Mm,
subject of fear, about you had
mm.
a saying in your head. Was it, you own the fear, don't let the fear own you?
Yeah, something like that.
Is that what you were referring to?
Yeah. I mean, so listeners, before we started recording tonight, as I was talking to Ian about just a little part of a dream that kept coming to me all night, and it was about fear, and it was just saying to me, in whatever circumstance I was dreaming in, which I can't remember, was that you you have to just accept that fear is part of development and growth, because if you don't feel any fear, then the brain is happy, right? So the brain wants you to be in a state of not fear. I mean, the reason this came up, I think the reason this came up is because I've had a couple of coaching conversations, which where people have talked about their fears, and I've sort of said to them, the fear is your brain's way of protecting you. You're fine. You're being fed. You've got water. You've got a roof over your head. All your needs are being looked after. And the fact that you want something different for yourself, but you're feeling the fear of it, is that fear is telling you it's reluctant to change, because actually you're all right. And we do cover this a lot, because this comes up in so many different aspects of coaching. Fear, change. Coaching is all about developing yourself, embracing change, making positive moves towards your future, all of that. And fear, I think, runs through it. What do you think?
Massively. They think there's a good saying that I obviously love, and I love a good little saying,
You do.
which articulates things quite well, I think, and it's fear is your mind letting you know that you're on the edge of your beginning. Which, I don't know whether I'm paraphrasing it a little bit there. I think I am, but I really like it. It's a good thing when you have that fear when you're doing something new, because, like Dee's just said, it's letting you know that you're taking a step closer to growth. And I think that comes back to that stepping outside of your comfort zone thing that we've talked about numerous times. Got to step outside of your comfort zone. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Do you remember the Nana Oliver interview we did?
Yes.
Way back when we first started? Didn't she talk about, and this interview is out, and I think it's available. You can listen to the whole thing. Nana Oliver was a fantastic interview. Didn't she talk about, was it the hero's journey?
Yeah.
That was an incredible. Do you remember the details of that? I mean,
no.
When you talk about stepping outside of your comfort zone, I just thought, it came to my mind. Right, everybody, listeners, get involved. Okay, jump on YouTube, jump on Spotify. Get yourself Nana Oliver full interview. It's out. Ian is going to look really quickly and tell you what date it is.
I'll say it now. So the Nana Oliver interview that's out now is from our launch episodes, which were cut down to like 15-20 minutes.
No, she was the
full
first
interview is going to be out. Say again?
I thought she was the first full length.
Oh, was she?
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Ian, come on, tech man.
I've got to check. What's tech got to do with it? I'm going to check this now.
Check it now.
Yeah. I'm going to bore everyone. This is going to be very good podcasting for people.
No, you can cut this bit out.
No, we're keeping this in. You're trying to show me up.
I'm not trying to show you up. I'm a team player. How dare you? But you're wrong.
No, but you're wrong, Ian.
No, but you're wrong.
You're absolutely wrong. Let's have a look.
Anyway, so I think this hero story is about it. The way I remember it, and I haven't listened to it for a while, but the way I remember it is that you are going through a journey, like in a film. Was that the right? Oh God, we are really going to have to edit this one out.
I found it now. I found it now. You're right. So it's for those interested, it's episode 12.
Episode 12, yeah. Nana Oliver, honestly.
Episode 12. Just cheating.
Oh, brilliant. So, a growth mindset, and I don't think we've touched yet on motivation.
Okay.
Yeah?
Pray tell.
So, learning something new requires an element of motivation, because you're likely to come up against obstacles. Mindset is the difference between failure and success in so many things.
Yeah, I think a byproduct of having a growth mindset is you're motivated by the challenges that come your way. You're motivated that when you do have those setbacks, to overcome them moving forward and learn those lessons and research what it is about that setback that you need to change to then achieve whatever goal it is that you've got. So I think motivation is kind of a byproduct of a growth mindset, really.
So you're learning about yourself. You're creating a sense of self-awareness as well throughout all of the process.
Yep.
which is evolving rather than if it's fixed. You feel like you know who you are, and you're all right with that, and that's it. So maybe when you have a setback with a fixed mindset, you're actually more inclined to blame other people or to blame the circumstance rather than look at yourself to think, okay, well, maybe I could have done something differently, or done it a different way.
Yeah, I think so that rings a bell with one of my clients when we were first starting out, and they were essentially trying to set up a business, but they weren't able to get over a certain step, and then they started saying in our sessions things like, well, no one ever came and helped me. People saw us struggling, but no one ever helped me. No one did this. No one did this for me. No one did that for me. No one did this for me.
Mm.
So it was a very kind of selfish view
Yeah.
on things, and people need to understand that there's nothing wrong with asking people for help.
Mm.
It's like in my
Yeah.
work as a project manager, I'd be essentially leading teams of people, but the outcome of the project is not on me, it's on the people who I'm leading in that team. They're the ones with the skills to do the work. I'm
Mm.
essentially organizing and making sure they've got everything they need to be able to do and plan all this kind of thing. But there's times when those people might not have the skills to do a certain task which I've set for them,
Yeah.
but then not tell me. And
Right.
then things start to kind of fall down. Whereas if they just turn around and say, Ian, don't quite know this, can you help, or can we get someone in to help who does know it,
Mm.
then that issue doesn't occur. So
So,
I think it's really important to understand that asking for help
yeah.
is okay,
Yeah.
and it will be a benefit to you and whatever outcome you're trying to seek.
Okay, so let's take it on to a next level, next step. So do you think that a fixed mindset individual could make a good leader?
I'd say I don't think it'd be impossible, but likely not, because you are avoiding challenges, and leadership is all about. It's not all about challenges, but a hell of a lot of it is about challenges, right? Um, you fixed mindset, you're more likely to take the easy way out, whereas being a
Mm,
leader is about leading by example, taking risks.
yeah.
So, whilst I don't think it'd be impossible, but I've really struggled to see how they could be a good leader.
Yeah. And I think, there's an element of having, it's harder to cultivate great relationships with people on a professional level. Your friends are your friends and that's different. But in a work situation, I think if you've got a fixed mindset in it could be harder to cultivate relationships with people where you're all moving forward together. So I think a leader with that sort of mindset might be hard. It might be one of those bosses that everyone hates.
It's
Yeah.
important to realize as well that you may recognize, so some of the listeners may recognize things what we've been talking about is in the fixed mindset area as being
Mm,
something that you potentially do. But you may also recognize things in the growth mindset that you do.
mm,
So you just know that you're then already on that journey of having that growth mindset. If someone's
mm,
solely a fixed mindset person, then where I'm coming from with that leadership question was, if someone's solely a fixed mindset person, then no, I don't think they'd be a good leader.
mm.
But if someone's got a mix of the both, then yeah,
Yeah. I think culturally,
I think it'd be fine.
yeah, yeah, I agree, definitely. And culturally, as we have got we're developing more of a growth mindset culture. especially with young people now, the job market's different. They do different kind of jobs. There's so many online sort of marketing and whatever in social media or different. The job market is just different now. And to do things like that, you have to be a bit of a self-starter. You have to have, curiosity. You have to want to learn stuff. You have to be persistent. You have, all these things. Just to be successful in the work culture in current times.
Yeah.
Whereas, maybe 30, 40 years ago, you'd get a job for life. It's unheard of now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's unheard of. So
okay.
there
Anything else before we wrap it up there?
No, I'm looking forward to thinking about some action steps that you can take to develop yourself from having a fixed mindset. And even maybe we didn't explore it quite as much as we could have, but the reasons behind you having a fixed mindset, you self-preservation, looking after keeping the status quo, not changing things because actually everything is all right, these sorts of things. So it'll be interesting to see how the conversation flows when we talk about changing that, because maybe there are people who are really happy as they are.
Amen.
Amen.
So, listeners, on our next episode, we are releasing the full interview with Corilo Gadis, in which she's talking about her personal story and journey as a coach, and it is not one to be missed. If you didn't catch the launch episode, don't worry, because this is now the full episode. That launch episode was only 15-20 minutes long, whereas this is now the full whack, and it is not to be missed.
It's she's such a phenomenal speaker, absolutely not to be missed. It's addictive viewing. Yeah. Well done, Ian, on that interview. I loved it.
Oh, just doing what I do.
Right, everybody. Okay, that's a wrap. And from me, it's be there,
be there,
be naked. Well done.
Woo.
Ta-ra.
Tra.